pick bans because I might have a pun coming up, but it depends on what Pokemon actually make it through. So on the side of RRQ, we're going to be seeing a Zoroark ban, whereas for Cakekalok, they're going to continue with this Hooper ban. So obviously, they are very afraid of the Hooper, and they are forced to first pick the Urshifu. Now, this was the dream scenario that we were looking for Cakekalok because they have been struggling to play up against Eeyore's Urshifu. So now the question is what's going to be on the table here for RRQ now that they've lost the Urshifu, and it's going to be the Dodrio again.
And the Lapras, again, a premium pick for both teams, but you look at Urshifu and Lapras in terms of priority, I think the Urshifu is just, at this point of time, is number one, right? Yeah. You get Urshifu, you have a great chance of winning. They pick the Blissey and Clefable, so no mind for this game. It's all about just super juicing this Urshifu.
They're also denying a lot of the support options for RRQ as well.
But they have Eldegoss, right? That means Zoe just insta-lock Eldegoss. This is...
Well, yes, but I feel like they also, if they could have, wanted to deny pick the Blissey, because we saw in that last game how annoying Safeguard is on Urshifu. So maybe that was a Pokemon that RRQ were considering, but I mean, Zoe plays a lot of Eldegoss, so that totally makes sense. But I want to know this last pick, like what's Necro playing? Because they've picked up the Lapras for Illuna, unless this is Illuna's Pokemon for the last pick. And if I'm
I think
RRQ,
it's a Necro. I feel like it could be a Necro Pokemon, right? Yeah, so wait.
I think this is better because I was thinking if it's, let's say, Illuna's Pokemon, it was going to be the Slowbro. Like, that's really the only other Pokemon left for Illuna. But I am glad to see the Blastoise. So you've got a damage Pokemon to follow up with Axew. This is a damage defender as well. You're going to have Eeyore coming in with the supplemental damage and the backline burst. You've got Illuna there with the sustain as well as the bubble beam. But I'm going to be honest, you know, Cakekalok's lineup is looking great. You've got two really tanky supporters that can support both Levi and Mark God. Very likely going to be Safeguard, but then again, there's not a lot of disable on the side of RRQ, so maybe they just double down on the healing. We're not really 100% sure. And the Mew pick, I mean, Mew's a great Pokemon.
And I think, you know, for Cakekalok, they also have one of the better Pokemons to play at long range, and that's the Mew, right? You always have the Solar Beam, you can always try, secure objectives with the Solar Beam. And I think what Mark got, he even had the Aeos Cookie. I was about to say biscuit, but he had the Aeos Cookie on him, so it's just all about beefing himself up. The muscle band also. So he's going to be staying in the front line for a long, long time. We did see him play this Trevenant in the earlier series against Outwit, and he was unkillable.
Sorry, I can't get over the Aeos Biscuit. I mean, that's what Pokemon Unite would be if it was translated into UK English.
That is true. That is true. Aeos Biscuit.
All right, it's Aeos Cookie. That's not good. All right, we're jumping into game number 1 of the grand final reset between Cakekalok and RRQ. It's a completely new game. Fresh best of 3. Let's see who gets this first game to put themselves in a good start for this matchup. But we just got an update here from production. We are going to have a bit of a pause here. We will give you an update once we know what has actually happened here that has forced a pause. So again, we are so sorry to everyone that was very excited for the matchup. Husky and I are also very excited. But we are running into some issues, it seems. But we will give you an update once we know more about what has happened to force the pause. Let's keep talking about the draft, because I really think Cakekalok have it this game.
I do feel like they do, right? Because it was the same archetype that RRQ ran in the previous 2 games, where you just have an Urshifu who is constantly getting safeguarded.
Double supporters.
Double support.
You're basically pumping him full of health, yeah.
Yeah, and then he's just running down the enemy backline, right? You just see this team of 3 Pokemons running through the entire fight.
And if you really wanted to next level that combination as well, you could play bowling with the Blissey. You know, you have the Water Bear, he goes in, you have the Blissey coming in with the Bliss Assist, and you can get the knock-ins, right? Because Urshifu, especially the Water variant, it's so good at maneuvering through an entire team to allow the connections. So that's extra damage, plus you're buffing up the Water Bear. Like, that's terrifying. And
whenever he has the Flowing Fist, whenever he uses that Unite move, you can't... The Hydro Typhoon doesn't affect him, right? He becomes, what do you call, immune to hindrance, unstoppable. So if he times it right as well, he can just bypass, I think, the more solid means of defense from Necro and still go straight to XQ. And I think this time XQ doesn't really have too much of a way to deal with an Urshifu that's running at him. In the previous 2 games, he can push people away with his abilities, but in this game, the Urshifu will just keep running.
Yeah. I wonder if they might supplement this with Necro. Maybe Necro actually goes in and builds Surf. Highly unlikely because I feel like they need the rapid spin damage. But, I mean, who knows? It's a possibility if they really wanted to go that far.
I think it probably...
I don't think they need it though. It feels like overkill.
No, the Surf? No.
Surf.
Yeah, I don't think you need it, right?
Yeah, I think it's a bit overkill to try and keep up XQ. And look at this though, Eeyore waiting patiently, does see the Urshifu
what happened?
Oh, hang on. Oh, that might have been a mistake, and
no.
it was! Oh no, Eeyore going down, and that's going to be Cakekalok to get not only the knockout, but also score those points. And look at this Levi, he doesn't even go down, he's turning around! Oh my gosh, this is a big win for Cakekalok.
That is the most unlucky moment for Eeyore this series.
Oof.
He comes in with the flank, gets clipped like a wood hammer as Mark God evolves into the Trevenant.
Jeez.
My goodness, you can't even get mad at that. That was just unlucky. And just like that, Cakekalok, they almost blew that first goal zone.
They almost blew it wide open, but you know what's happening in the middle area? We're going to be seeing the Swablu and Altaria spawn, and RRQ in a position to potentially contest this because that's going to be a lot of experience. We won't see it, unfortunately, but we are seeing the status of that bottom lane. And Naughty, I mean, the Blissey holding the fort on its own, you know, no pressure in the lane, just farming that experience. Everything's great.
Eeyore did go to the mid side, but I think
he wanted to
the family was already taken away by very fast by Levi.
I blame Flavor.
you can wipe the Altaria and Swablus with like one rotation of your ability, or 2 rotations actually. So Surging Strike, Liquidate, and you do it again, and they're gone.
Yeah, and I do believe they scouted out Mark God there with Eeyore's Dodrio, so that's not going to be a surprise for either of these Pokemon. But in the bottom lane, they were seeing a bit of a tussle here from both of the teams, 4 up against 3. But no full engagements. Necro, they're being pushed back there by the Trevenant, and look at the damage coming out just from the Trevenant. Actually having to use the headbutt to get out of there. Necro's going to be fine, got the eject button, but yeah, life's not the best for the War Turtle right now.
Margot is not going to follow him to the bot side, so Cakekalok only has 4 members to try and take this Regice away. Meanwhile, the Urshifu, he's already at the back, the Flowing Fist. That was exactly what we saw in the previous 2 games. He's still going with the help of his team. And he is unstoppable for sure. Safeguard from Nautilus, just keeping him going. And RRQ, they know that they can't contest this, but they will still try to hovering around with both Eeyore and Illuna. Regice dropping super low, Solar Beam coming right through to get the secure. And RRQ, they are scattering into the wind. Levi is not done yet, he's paying it back tenfold. They want to get the members of RRQ off the map.
They get him.
They actually lose Levi. Bit of an overextension. They might end up losing the Mew as well. Cakekalok just biting off more than they could chew.
Biting off a little more that they can chew and getting punished for it as well. Mark God has rotated into that bottom lane though, so this is going to stop any more advancements coming in from RRQ. But I think if you're RRQ, just having that big knockout on the Urshifu, big sigh of relief because it was off the map temporarily. They were able to get experience off of the knockout as well. So the comeback possibility here for RRQ, it is a very real reality. As long as they're able to continue to get these little minor pickoffs and to keep up, because one of the big issues I think Cakekalok ran into in those previous games was because they were getting knocked out left, right, and center. They just could not keep up with the Urshifu. Yep. But the game is different if you can keep up, because he no longer has the stat advantage.
He's no longer beating you because he's just stronger, right?
Yeah.
And I think that knockout even went over to Eeyore. So the Dojo, the Pokemon that was behind, now tied up in terms of levels with Levi. Cakekalok will still get the Regieleki. It will still threaten some prompt response from RRQ to protect that second goal zone. This is where Cakekalok, they're going to start moving to the bottom side and try to force open this goal zone.
Yeah, I think RRQ, they're really doing the best that they can in this game, just to actually keep up in terms of experience. And heck, they're not even keeping up, they're actually staying ahead. So RRQ, they are understanding that they need to prepare for the late game, but oh my gosh, Dodrio almost going down. Eeyore just getting out in the nick of time. Team is still there. I believe Illuna also used his Unite move to go for a bit of a push, but no! Dodrio going down. The battle still continues, but Cakekalok, have they stuck around for a little bit too long? Hydro onto the entire team. They've actually lost one of their healers. It's going to be down to this Clefable to do the healing all on his own. Another Pokemon goes down. Levi going down as well. And now Cakekalok, they stuck around. The experience is going to go in favor of RRQ, and they just don't have the numbers to contest for that Reggie steal. But then again, he was there. Solar Beam is a possibility. Can Eeyore keep him zoned away? Unite move getting used, and the last hit going to the Blastoise. So Cakekalok out of position. But RRQ, again, patient, understanding they don't have to fight on the goal zone, and that's going to be another knockout. The Trevenant. Cakekalok, I think they need to back up.
Yeah, Cakekalok are getting a bit too impatient with these executes.
Look at the level difference, Husky. Compare the two teams.
That was off of one team fight at the bottom side, right? Cakekalok, they were so focused on just everyone was basically pressing the score button. No one was kind of on the same page. They were not focused firing down the members of RRQ, and they took way too long to do that. So RRQ just had more than enough time to send back up in and get their own KOs, and now Cakekalok, whatever lead that they got early on, has gone straight down the drain.
Yeah, it looks like it's gone down the drain. I mean, yes, the game is 1 point in favor of Cakekalok, but right now points don't really matter because now we're looking at the macro game. Your experience, your preparation going into that late game, and making sure you don't feed resources away to Cakekalok, right? Like, as if any of your Pokemon get knocked out, that's free experience. Don't give away unnecessary knockouts. That is essentially what's happening. But APAC, unfortunately, running right into Levi. Ejectors there will get out of position. Actually getting into Dodrio instead. Eeyore getting hit there by the Woodhammer. Just the first tick, though, does get out. No knockouts. RRQ, very lucky there.
Agility is helping Eeyore out, but it's a good way to check these bushes with that Horn Leech. You're unstoppable, and you are always going to get away from those for the situations. Cakekalok will get the Regieleki for the second time, 30 seconds before the Rayquaza spawns, so they will allow Cakekalok to set up around that Rayquaza pit. But you look at the levels, right? Just to reiterate it again, Cakekalok, they are definitely lower in terms of numbers.
They were much lower, unfortunately. You've only got one level 13 Pokemon, and that is going to be Levi on the Water Bear.
Trying to rush the Registeel.
They need the experience. They have to try and gun for it.
Should be able to get this. 3 seconds left. Solar Beam, easy secure, right on time.
And the special attack boost as well. That's going to prove very helpful for the Mew. But look at this though. Eeyore going to go immediately for that 100-point dunk in the top lane. So that's going to put them ahead. But the gap is still pretty small between the two teams, so anything goes. It's going to come down to that fight. And so far, Necro in the front lines, just helping to scout out for the team, give his team vision, figure out what's their entry point.
Marco has to do something, right? He's going to get frozen up, then passive gets popped. He has to use the Phantom Forest. Follow-up needs to come in right up a Cakekalok. Levi straight to the back as Necro plays interference. Illuna is going to be there as well. The Dojo Eeyore runs after Levi. They do lose XQ, but Levi is still going strong, and that is what you want if you have Cakekalok. Levi pretty much healthy, but the rest of his team dropping low. Eeyore still around. Cakekalok can work on the Rayquaza. Blissey will come back, but RRQ, they just need to stall for 5 more seconds, and they have more than enough time to do so.
Yeah, it's not over as of yet, though, but it's going to have to come down to Marco to make sure that they actually can get that Rayquaza. But he gets eliminated, yes. They're trying to go for the rip, but can they get that last hit? It's going to be Lapras! RRQ! They've swiped it away from Cakekalok, and look at this. Illuna straight away wanting to get the 100-point dunks, uses the Bubble Beam, but it doesn't really matter though. The Safeguard preventing the stun from connecting. But RRQ, they've done what they needed to do. They're getting the points. Cakekalok, they thought they could win the flip, but sometimes it's just too risky.
I feel like that's probably their best bet also. Levi had the best fight that he could ask for. Went straight to the back, knocked out Axel, knocked out Zoe, and was at full health. I feel like they thought they needed to rush Rayquaza because RRQ, they were respawning. And if RRQ gets back into the fight, Cakekalok wouldn't have much to work with. I feel like it's an inevitable flip, but RRQ just got the last hit.
I mean, Lapras.
Lapras of all things.
Actually got the secure. I actually think that must have been a misplay because look at Cakekalok's lineup. They have Mew.
The Solar Beam was
the tick was unfortunately off.
She just needed to wait a bit more. I think again, right, just Cakekalok, you can feel a bit of the, is impatience a good word? Desperation.
I think it was the adrenaline.
Right.
I think it was the adrenaline. The game was very close. It could have gone anyone's way. And to everyone that's watching as well, and to us as well, I think we're all very familiar with that feeling when